Welcome to week 10 of the NFL season. Another week of WSN picks. My name is Adam Forsyth, joined as always by Ryan Sullivan. How this show works, if you haven't caught up with us yet, every single week we are going to break down every single game. We're going to tell you the over, the under, the spread, some prop bets, some daily fantasy plays. We're going to break it all down. I'm pumped, Ryan.
I'm jacked.
It was week 9, great week of football. Week 10, just on the schedule alone, I expect some big things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's some great matchups coming up, stuff you can really sink your teeth into. And again, you can catch all the previews, everything you need. WSN.com's got you covered. But this show, I got a feeling. And when I get a feeling, it's going to be epic.
Oh, the word epic. We don't use that word lightly around here at WSN, but epic it is. All right, so let's look back at last week because we do have our best bet segment where we have to pick the one game of the week where we are the most confident. And Ryan, what was your best bet last week? And how did you do?
Well, thank you for asking.
I want to put it on tee for you.
Yes, thank you. My best bet was the Eagles to win and cover over the Chicago Bears, something that they did with ease.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Chicago Bears, well, they're the Chicago Bears, so that's pretty much all you need to say there. They were brutal once again, and a trend which I see continuing, not only this week, but throughout the season. But we'll get to their game preview in a little bit. I'll keep going through my best prop that hit. Well, there's a couple. I said Jamison Crowder. Can't even get my words right here. Jamison Crowder, I said, was going to top his reception total. He did just that. He also got into the end zone. So if you're playing DFS, Crowder was a good pickup for you. Cole Beasley, I also said was going to get his third touchdown in as many games. He did just that as well. And I also took the over in the Tampa-Seattle shootout. That one was kind of a gimme. It was just offense versus offense. Neither team's defense even showed up to the stadium. So, but yeah, quite happy with that. Not too shabby.
All right, my best bet was also correct, as you just brought up, that Seahawks game. I had the Seahawks to cover against the Buccaneers. A little dicey at sometimes. The game did go to overtime, but I got it done. Seahawks covering the spread there, hitting my second best bet 2 weeks in a row now. I'm on a roll. The train has left the station. I'm on a roll. I had a couple of prop bets as well. I correctly targeted Cole Beasley, as did you, Ryan. Emmanuel Sanders and David Montgomery also to find the end zone. I was a big fan of the over in the Steelers-Indy showdown. Got that one, as well as the Lions-Raiders game. Both of us had a giant clunker this week. It was out there, though. My biggest miss by far, and yours as well, that Packers-Chargers game.
Yeah.
It was bad.
That was ugly.
That was Aaron Rodgers' worst game of the season, and yeah, I don't know what happened. The Chargers looked pretty good there.
Yeah, I don't think anybody saw that coming. I don't think that's just on us. But at the same time, yeah, Rodgers with his worst game by a landslide, what seemed like his worst game of maybe the last decade almost. They just did not show up whatsoever, which was shocking because I saw this number over the weekend. 70% of ticket sales in that stadium, Dignity Health, as we learned last week, went to Green Bay Packers fans. Green Bayers on vacation. And so it was essentially a home game for them, and they could not pull out even the slightest effort. A little disappointing.
All right, so last week, let's put it aside. Let's move into week number 10, and we got to put our best bets on the line, see if we can keep this hot streak rolling. My best bet of the week is going to be the Saints to cover a massive spread. It's 12.5 points, but I think they can do it. Atlanta, their opponent, is a mess. Drew Brees coming off a bye, another week to heal up his thumb injury. And New Orleans is rolling, having won 5 in a row, covering the spread in all 5 games. They're also my Survivor pick this week if you guys are still alive in your Survivor matchups. What is your best bet, Ryan?
That's well played. We go back and forth on this, and we're definitely head to head here. I'm gonna smack my mic again, but I respect your pick. I think it's a very strong move. The New Orleans Saints, definitely, I see them being an NFC Championship contender once again. They're on absolute fire right now. However, I'm gonna change things up a little bit.
All right.
After watching what we did on Sunday night and what we've seen all season from the Baltimore Ravens, how can you not take the Ravens with a 10-point spread over the Cincinnati Bengals? Yeah, they're in Cincy. I don't think that makes a lick of difference. Lamar Jackson, if he can put up that many touchdowns, if he can go to the air even a little bit more, that would be nice to see. But this guy gets the job done regardless, wherever, whenever. And if you can take down New England and that amazing defense by 17 points, you can rock the hell out of a rookie quarterback and the Cincinnati Bengals, regardless of where you're playing. I'm taking Baltimore to win. I'm taking Baltimore to cover with ease.
All right, so those are our best bets and a couple of bold ones, I think, because double-digit point spreads are not exactly the easiest thing to cover, but let's lock it in.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
For our listeners living in New Jersey or West Virginia, all you got to do is go to WSN.com for special bonuses. That's right, bonuses and deals. If you want to bet on this week's games, you can compare the best legal online sports books and get exclusive offers when you sign up and start betting. So let's start breaking down the slate of games. First up, we have the Thursday nighter. It is a California clash between the Chargers and the Raiders. The current line has Chargers favored by 1 point. The over-under set at 48. Both teams coming off pretty impressive wins over NFC North teams, and I'm a little surprised the Chargers are favored here. Their defense was good against the Packers, as we mentioned off the top, but Oakland, they put up points on the board. I like the Raiders on the money line. Derek Carr moving the ball around to a number of targets. Josh Jacobs running away with the Rookie of the Year award. Running away. Yeah, see? Let's see what I did there.
That's what you did.
Two teams playing on short rest, a little bit dicey, but I think if you're looking to dabble, Oakland is probably the way to go. Additionally, these two offenses can easily put up the points, as we saw last week, but history is not on their side for this game, Ryan, as the under is hit in 5 straight games head-to-head.
This one, it's a total toss-up. I mean, this could be Oakland's game at home. There's a lot of things going for them. They're playing really well. I mean, you mentioned a couple players there as well that are really standing out. But I like the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I've picked them the last few weeks, and it hasn't. I went against them the last few weeks, and it hasn't gone my way. But that's okay. I like them in this game because it seems like they've finally established a run game. It seems like Melvin Gordon has finally showed up. It took him a few weeks to get there after his contract holdout, but it seems like Gordon's finally getting the ball moving the rock for him in the right direction. And in this game, I like Austin Eckler in the over on receptions. So if you can find that Eckler prop, I think there's some money to be made there. Once the Chargers get these two guys moving, as they did last year, that's what really carried them to the playoffs. If they can get these guys going, if they can establish a run game, if they can establish some check downs, some screen passes to Eckler, that's when they really start making some noise out there. And so I like Eckler with the over, and I like the Chargers to win this game.
All right, there you go. Thursday game out of the way. Let's move into a very, very busy Sunday. And we'll start with the Lions at Chicago to face the Bears. Chicago currently favored by 2.5 points, and the over-under is set at 42.5. Ryan, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
So the Lions last week, I mean, they lost a nail-biter. And, what we've seen with Detroit, there is not a problem with their offense. I mean, Matty Stafford's getting the job done right now, and he's moving that rock around nicely. Whether
it's a football, it's not a rock.
Is it? Did we do some? Tom, did we check on that? We did. So anyhow, but that's okay. He's moving that football, the pigskin. He's moving it around very nicely. Kenny Golladay has just had a fantastic season. Marvin Jones last week, with a huge standout performance. T.J. Hawkinson, he's playing pretty damn well. Even Amendola's having a great season as well. I like what they're doing, and there's just so much offense there that it completely outweighs whatever deficiencies there are on the defensive side of the ball, especially facing a Chicago Bears team that can't put points on the board to save their life. So I like Detroit in this game. The Bears, shockingly, and in my mind, favored by a 2.5 point spread. I'm not going anywhere near the over-under. It's 42.5, but I do like Detroit to come in and upset on the road.
I'm fully on board with that, Ryan. I'm a little bit confused by the line as well. I mean, at this point, we still don't even know if it's going to be Mitch Trubisky or Chase Daniels at the quarterback position. It's another game I like the underdog. The Lions lost a bit of a nail-biter to Oakland on Sunday, but a bounce-back game is in the cards. Chicago, as you said, a complete mess. The play calling questioned more and more every week. Like, what are they doing? But I will piggyback off my prediction from last week. The one bright spot, the Bears finally figured out, hey, you know what's a good idea? Give David Montgomery the ball. He is a good running back. Shocking, right? And it took them till like week 8, week 9 of the season, and they finally did it. And the rookie found the end zone several games in a row. I like him to find the end zone at Soldier Field on Sunday. That being said, I still, like you, I'm going to lean towards the Lions clawing their way to an upset win.
And can we hit rewind a little bit? Can we go back to last week? Because you defended Matt Nagy in that last minute.
What?
Yeah. When he decided not to throw the ball or pass the ball, they would just take a knee and then take that field goal. And then Eddie Pinheiro came out last week and he said, I would have liked it if the ball was moved over to the hash mark. That would have been nice. So
I repressed that memory and I don't recall it, but I'll take your word for it.
You don't think about the Chicago Bears?
Moving on. Let's go to our next game. We got the Ravens taking on the Bengals in Cincinnati, and this line is pretty big. It is Ryan's best bet of the week. The Ravens favored by 10 points, over under at 46.5. And welcome to the show, Ryan Finley, your first taste of the NFL. And guess what? You got a Ravens team that just dismantled the defending Super Bowl champions. Good luck, kid. It's a brutal situation for Cincinnati to throw this rookie into. The Ravens established themselves as one of, if not the marquee team in the league right now. Lamar Jackson shot at the MVP. It's skyrocketing. Buy some Lamar Jackson stock if you can, because this guy is amazing. I don't think this line is big enough. I like Lamar to hit the over on rush yards, for him to score a rushing touchdown. And if you can find it, it's a pretty solid bet. Ryan Finley will throw an interception.
Oh, absolutely. Every rookie does in his first game. It just seems like a rite of passage. Yeah, I mean, you heard it in the best bet. I mean, even everything you were just saying there, Baltimore is going to win this game. But when it comes to that over-under, it's 46.5. And I kind of like that even for Baltimore alone. I think they're going to run up this scoreboard. So, yeah, wow. I'm a fan. I mean, if there's a prop on that, don't take it. But I like
okay.
No, but I like the over in general. I mean, 46.5 is pretty low for this game, I feel. But yeah, for Ryan Finley, I watched some of his draft video and I was kind of excited to see how he would turn out coming out of NC State. He looks like he's a pretty composed guy back in the pocket. So he's definitely got some upside to him, but it's not going to start week number 1 for this guy in game number 1. It's not gonna happen, especially against this Baltimore team, which just looks so deadly on both sides of the ball. Again, they're in Cincinnati. They could be playing wherever. They could be in the middle of the Atlantic. It's not going to make a difference. Baltimore to win, Baltimore to cover.
Awesome. Head to WSN.com for tons of stuff. Among them, it'll probably tell you on there, don't go with Finley as a daily fantasy play. But if you do want some advice, there's tons of betting guides for beginners. Anyone wanting to learn more about strategy, how sports betting works, it is jam-packed with info. Again, WSN.com. So,
except for that interception prop, if you can find that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All day.
Oh, yeah. No daily fantasy, but find him on that interception prop. Let's keep this rolling with our Sunday morning slate of games. Ryan, what's next?
So we got Buffalo taking on the Cleveland Browns. The Browns favored by 2.5 points, which is shocking. Absolutely shocking. The over-under set at 40.5. I would advise not to go anywhere near the over on this one. But these two guys, I mean, there's one thing that I feel confident in this game, and that's Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley, again, look for a reception prop because this guy's just sure hands every single time. And I would say look for a touchdown prop again. I love what Cole Beasley's doing over there. We knew when he came in from Dallas that he would be effective in that offense. We just didn't know how long it would take. Obviously, it took the first quarter or third of the season for them to get on the same page, Josh Allen and Cole Beasley. But now they're finally there, and it's clicking. That offense is clicking. That defense looks pretty sharp too. They've shown some just tremendous glimpses of brilliance out there. Love what I'm seeing. But I also like the under in this game too. As sure as I am about Cole Beasley, I'm pretty sure about the under as well. Right now, Cleveland's gone under in 16 of their last 24 at the dog pound. Buffalo has gone under in their last 5 on the road, so keep an eye on that. But definitely keep an eye on Buffalo coming out victorious in this game.
So keeping an eye on things.
Keeping an eye, baby.
All right. Yeah, I agree with you, Ryan. It kind of looks like this might be the week of the underdog. I love betting on the favorites, but this week there's some really tempting lines out there. And yet another game where I'm leaning towards taking the road dog. Cleveland, a disaster, as you brought up. Baker Mayfield, he looks like he's like a minute away from having a complete breakdown. He is ready to kill everybody. It's not looking good. Freddie Kitchens' coaching staff refusing to utilize Odell Beckham Jr. on clutch red zone plays, driving me crazy. I can only imagine how frustrated Mayfield is. I just don't see how they put up points against Buffalo's defense that has shown glimpses that they can be one of the premier defensive teams in the league. Buffalo plays well on the road too. They're 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 games away from home. And if that spread isn't really tempting for you, I like Devin Singletary as a great low budget fantasy play.
Nice.
Yeah, I just don't think the Browns defensive line would be able to handle him. So that is my strategy. If you don't want to bet on this game specifically, look at Devin Singletary. Let's keep things going. We got another big game, and this is my best bet of the week. We have Atlanta at New Orleans. The Saints are favored by 12.5 points. The over-under set at 51. That's a big one. We mentioned off the top. My best bet of the weekend, I'm locking it in. Saints to cover the double-digit spread. Drew Brees back, his offense clicking. Elvin Kamara coming off a bye week to heal up that ankle injury that's kind of been hampering him for the first half of the season. And as for Atlanta, I don't even know where to begin with these guys. Like it's a complete lost season. Then it leaks out that Devontae Freeman was being kind of floated out there in trade talks at the deadline, so he can't be happy. Dan Quinn clinging to his job. It is getting ugly in Georgia. It won't be any better on Sunday as I see the Saints. They're going to pull off a win in Cajun country.
Yeah. Drew Brees and Michael Thomas are going to storm the Falcons' D like Normandy. It's going to be ridiculous. I can't wait to see it. And the one thing, I know we kind of teased it a little bit with a couple different picks. If you're thinking this is the week I want to try my hand at daily fantasy sports, those two are your bell cows. Jump on them immediately. Drew Brees and Michael Thomas. It's going to be all day long. The Saints have looked just fantastic on home field, not to mention in the last handful of games as well. They've been very effective. They're coming off a bye, as you said off the top. Drew Brees, another week to rest that thumb. I see the Saints absolutely dominating in this game. And you never want to see anyone lose their job, but this could be the final week for Mr. Quinn there. We've been kind of waiting for the axe to fall, and unfortunately that schedule is just not getting easier for the Atlanta Falcons. And the Saints with these, it's a big spread, 12.5 points, but I'm just as confident as you that they'll cover with these.
So what do we got next?
Okay, we go from maybe one of the best offensive performances of the week in the New Orleans Saints against Atlanta to one of the best. No. Let me. What's the right adjective here? A dumpster fire. There it is. A dumpster fire. The New York Giants and the New York Jets. The Giants favored by 2.5. The over/under set at 43. I think that's the over/under for how many people are actually going to tune in to watch this football game. This is just going to be absolutely brutal. We've got a 1-7 versus a 2-7. We're still waiting for a great game to take place at MetLife Stadium. This is not going to be the week, that's for sure. When it comes to the Jets, I have little to no faith in this team whatsoever. And as you saw last week, this guy right here took Miami to beat the New York Jets. Everyone's like, oh, you're crazy. Miami won't win a game. No. Miami with their first win of 2019 because the Jets are that bad. But at the same time, so are the New York Giants. So it's a bit of a toss-up. If you're looking for any sure thing in this game, I think, again, it's Jameson Crowder on the receptions prop. Take the over in that one. Once they get him involved, that's when the offense finally gets moving, even in the slightest. Not in his career with the Jets has Sam Darnold, the mono kid, looked that amazing.
I like that.
Yeah, it's not going to be this game, but I believe that he can get the ball to Jameson, and they did it enough last week, and they also started to work in Le'Veon Bell a little bit more to that offense, too. I think that they're trending upward very, very slightly. So I'm going to give them the edge in this game.
All right. It is the epic MetLife Stadium showdown we've all been waiting for. Oh, man. I got to feel for New York football fans. Right?
It's pretty bad.
It's so bad. And it's just tough for both sides right now. Two young quarterbacks with promise, but just bad teams around them. The X factor in this game, if anything, will be Saquon Barkley. He looks like he's the only capable member of the Giants, and he was in the Monday loss to Dallas. I don't think the Jets have the tools in place to really contend with that star, so expect him to kind of excel, and only because of Barkley, I like the Giants to cover this game.
That's fair.
Ugh.
Should we just move on? Let's just forget.
That one. Let's
forget about
sour
that
taste in my mouth of that one. Yeah. This game has potential to be a lot of fun. It's Arizona at Tampa Bay. The Buccaneers currently favored by 4 points. Over/under is set at 52.5. And Ryan, full credit to Tampa Bay. They went to the Northwest. They nearly escaped Seattle with the win. They gave me a heart attack because Seattle was my best bet last week. Can they repeat that offensive explosion at home? It is definitely possible. I like the line on this game, too. I think the Buccaneers should be able to cover the spread, steal a victory. Bit of a worry early in the season that the two stellar receivers, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, would see their targets dip because, who's going to get the ball more? And both guys are just putting up ridiculous daily fantasy numbers. I'm hopping on the Evans train this week as someone will find the end zone. As for Arizona, It looks at least like they'll have David Johnson back, but I still don't think that's enough to overcome a very tough road matchup.
Yeah, I had the good fortune of attending that Tampa Bay Seattle game last week, and it was an all-out shootout. And to be honest, that's what I see this one shaping up to be as well. That Tampa Bay offense, like you say, they're electric. They're fantastic. When Jameis Winston's on his game, and the ball's not just slipping out of his hands like it did last week, he's always good for one Jamison per week. So if there's a prop for Jamison, look for that. Take the over. But no, I like Tampa Bay to put some points on the board. They even had their run game working for them last week too. I mean, which has been pretty much stalling all season long. But if they can get the run game going even in the slightest, that passing game, I mean, Mike Evans is just nonstop. I like them to really run that board up. Their defense, I have no faith in whatsoever. I mean, obviously you got Russell Wilson, who is just a composer back there in the offense, picking them apart. So that's going to be a little different than Kyler Murray. But nonetheless, I see the Arizona Cardinals putting up some decent points here as well. I like the over in this game. It's set at 52.5, the over-under. I would lean towards the over. I'm leaning towards the Bucs. I mean, it's a 4-point spread, but I see them getting the job done. Arizona, their problem, just like the Bucs, is that defense just is not clicking. I mean, there have been a few instances where just like they had a few unfortunate plays, like against the Niners last week and whatnot. But no, I think it's going to be all offense here. It's going to be a great game to watch, very exciting, and I like the Buccaneers to win.
All right. Do you want to find out all the over-under props for the entire week? All you got to do is head to WSN.com. Expert online sportsbook reviews that let you compare all the best legal sports betting sites available in the United States. Ryan, what is our next game?
We have Kansas City visiting the Music City. We have Kansas City and Tennessee. The Chiefs favored by 4 in this game. The over-under set at 48.5. I'm not sure it matters who's taking snaps in Tennessee. It could be Ryan Tannehill. It could be Marcus Mariota. I still believe in the Kansas City Chiefs. I still believe in whoever is playing Tennessee. There's just something about Ryan Tannehill. I mean, there's some scars there. I've been hurt too many times, so I can't trust the man. I always like Matt Moore. It's hard to put all of your trust in this guy, but I do like him, and he showed last week that he can get the job done. He's not a bad quarterback. So, right now the question's out there: is Mahomes going to be healthy enough? I don't think he's going to be. I think they'd give him an extra week regardless against a team like Tennessee. But nonetheless, KC, I like him, and on the money line it feels safe. I'm not sure. It's a 4-point spread. I don't know if I love going on the spread, but yeah, KC on the money feels pretty good to me.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. It is a tough one to call. Like, until we know who's starting, if it is Patrick Mahomes or Matt Moore, it's all up in the air. Matt Moore, we were kind of ripping on him last week a little bit, rightfully so. But with that win, he's now back to 500 on his career as a starter in the NFL. Go. Right? So,
yeah.
Hey, Matt Moore. But even with the veteran under center, I think KC can still put up the points, as they did prove last week against the Vikings. Chiefs on a roll away from Arrowhead as well, winning 5 of their last 6. I think that trend does continue this weekend. The Titans crashing back to earth, a rough showing against the Panthers, and even being back in Tennessee is not exactly enough for me to put faith in Ryan Tannehill.
They've never had a home field advantage over there.
No. Yeah. I got to go check it out last year, and it's like, they played the Ravens, and it was like more Baltimore fans.
Yeah, that was in the monsoon there, wasn't it?
It was a monsoon game.
Yeah.
As for this game, probably not going to be a monsoon of offense, but I still take KC and the points.
Yeah, and with that, because the Chiefs are favored by 4 points here, if you want to watch the line and watch the injury report, if Patrick Mahomes says he's healthy to play and you can jump on that 4 points, absolutely get all over that.
Totally.
But I don't see that happening.
Well, there you go. That's why you got to head to WSN.com.
Get the latest and greatest.
The latest and greatest. Speaking of the greatest, it is perhaps the greatest game of the week. Our first Sunday afternoon game is Carolina at Green Bay.
You said that with such confidence.
Yeah, I know. I was like, well, I saw how bad the Packers played last week. We got Carolina. We got Green Bay. It is in Wisconsin. Packers favored by 5.5 points. Over under 47.5. The Sunday afternoon slate of games kicking off with the Packers looking for a rebound effort at Lambeau. Aaron Rodgers, as we mentioned off the top, worst game of his season against the Chargers, and I'm predicting he comes out firing. He is going to be mad. Carolina also riding high, though, after a big win. However, a trip to Green Bay, definitely not an easy task. I think this game really comes down to one player, and you've been riding this horse to pay dirt since the beginning of the season, so good on you. If the Packers can contain Christian McCaffrey, they win this game. If not, an upset could be brewing. I'm staying away from the spread on this one, but I really like the over at its current number, and the stats back it up because when these two teams face off, it has hit the over in their last 5 meetings.
Run CMC, buddy. It's like that. And that's the way it is. There we go. But I am going to go against my boy Run CMC there. What I like most in this game is the over. It's set at 47.5, and I mean I think these are two teams that can definitely put up some points. Green Bay is way more effective at home than they've ever been on the road. At Lambeau, I mean they're just in their safe, warm, comfy confines. And I'm with you. I don't see Aaron Rodgers putting up another stinker. He's not putting up back-to-back brutal performances. He's going to come out with some fire brewing in the belly for sure. And I think they're going to run the board up. I mean Kyle Allen, I have faith in this guy. Not enough to win this game. I'm taking Green Bay first and foremost, but I think the over is just as safe as the pick on the money, maybe probably even more so, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of ifs and buts going into this game, and if you don't feel confident enough in one team or the other, I feel confident in the over. And so
even with if Kyle Allen or Cam Newton, doesn't matter?
Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
I mean that Packers D, I mean if you can allow the Chargers to run around on you like that, you can allow pretty much anybody to put some points on the board against you. So, I like the over in this game.
All right, as do I. Let's keep it moving. Our next game is Miami at Indianapolis. The Colts entering this one as 11.5-point favorites, over-under set at 44.5 points. Ryan, what do you make of this game?
I'm with you. That spread seems a little. It's a preliminary spread because we've got to see what happens with Jacoby Brissett here. If Jacoby's not playing in this game, there could be trouble. Even though Brian Hoyer came in, he threw 3 touchdowns. He had a great week. Not too shabby. Maybe his best week in years. Guaranteed his best week in years. But nonetheless, if Jacoby can play in this game, it's a Colts win. If Jacoby can't play in this game, it's a Colts win. They're 3-1 at Lucas Oil, and they're 9-1 straight up in their last 10 at home, especially with Preston Williams going down with that knee injury for the Fish last week. They've only got Devontae Parker now. They kicked Kenyon Drake out the door for peanuts. This offense is just dismantling themselves left, right, and center. But with that said, the Miami Dolphins are undefeated in the month of November. So,
heyo.
And with Aqib Talib in the lineup, they are undefeated. So there you go. But no, I like the Colts to win. It is a hefty spread, and I would wait until kickoff, or just before kickoff, obviously, to touch this thing. See who's starting in that game before you go anywhere near that spread. But on the money, I think this is Colts all the way at home.
For sure. A quick question for you. What did you make of Miami doing a Gatorade bath for Coach Brian Flores after their first win of the season? Like, come on.
Totally worth it. Yeah. Absolutely.
We aren't going to go 0-16.
It might be their only time. I mean, I'm surprised that they didn't have the plastic up in the locker room and get the Oakley goggles going on.
Pop some champagne.
Yeah.
I'm fully on board with you on this one. I'm going to kind of wait and see whether it is Brissett or Hoyer getting the start. On the money line, either way, I'm going to take the Colts. T.Y. Hilton being banged up is a little concerning, him being a late scratch last week. So I'm a little bit scared of the spread and the over-under, so I'm going to more focus on the props for this game. If Brissett does not play, look for Indy to keep the ball on the ground a lot because I don't think they have full faith in Hoyer. So I love Marlon Mack rush attempts and the over for rush yards. But that is only if Brissett does not play.
Great name, too.
Jacoby?
Well, Jacoby's a fantastic name, but Marlon Mack
just rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, Eminem. I love it.
All right, another afternoon game. It is our final afternoon game. We have the LA Rams at Pittsburgh. Rams favored by 4, over-under set at 44.5. It is the final game of our afternoon slate, as I mentioned, and it is certainly an interesting one. Rams coming off of a bye, and they're coming across the country for a visit to the Steel City. I really like this matchup. Jared Goff has kind of struggled on the road, like especially away from California, but Todd Gurley, a great opportunity to get back into RB1 status. Fantastic matchup for him. I'm taking LA to cover the spread. The data really backs me up on this one too. The Rams have covered the spread the last 5 games on the road. And on the Steelers sideline, if James Conner can't play, I like Jalen Samuels to hit the over on receptions as he did last week against the Colts.
Yeah, I think that is a great call. We differ a little bit here in that I like the Rams, but at the same time, I don't like them to cover that spread. I mean, I know it's just 4 points, but I think that's going to be a big 4-point spread come Sunday afternoon. And Jared Goff, he's been off and on all year. He's looked shaky. I hope for their sake that this bye week really played to their advantage. I hope they got some good reps in practice and whatnot and really worked out the kinks. I see that run game doing well. I mean, you're right. It is a good matchup for Todd Gurley. And, if he decides to take a break, Henderson's shown some great promise back there as well as the second string. But at the same time, I really like the Steelers on the ground. And I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit. And, on the ground or through a screen, you know what I mean? If Connor can't play, Snell has shown potential through the year. And I mean, he's been a little banged up too. Samuels, I have full faith in. And if you were wondering about Jalen Samuels, this guy came in last year in Daily Fantasy Sports as a tight end. So this is this guy's body. He's a tight end. He's a pass blocker who's got some wheels, who can catch. This guy can do it all. And so I'm with you on the Samuels prop. I think that's a great call. I like the Rams to win this game. I do not like them to cover the spread. I think it's going to be a tight one at Heinz Field.
All right, a couple more games to go. Head to WSN.com. Tons of betting guides for beginners and anyone wanting to learn more about strategy, some Jalen Samuels strategy perhaps, and how sports betting works. Our Sunday night game should be pretty entertaining. It is Minnesota at Dallas. Cowboys currently favored by 3, the over-under at 47. And Dallas coming off a big divisional win on Monday in which they kind of got off to a slow start, but they finished strong. I think it was all that black cat running onto the field causing havoc, because once that happened, all of a sudden the Cowboys just turned things around. As for the Vikings, they had numerous chances to put the Chiefs away, failing to seal the win. Minnie has had success at Jerry's World in the past. They've covered the spread in 9 of the last 10 games at Dallas, but I still like Dallas in this one. Take them to cover the spread, and I also like Michael Gallup to gallop his way to a touchdown for a second game in a row.
And your puns just get better week in and week out. You know what? It's a small spread. It's a 3-pointer, but I still like it to be a very close game, so I'm not confident going near that spread. Kirk Cousins has been nothing short of brilliant in the middle third of this NFL season. I don't think anybody can say that's not true. He's been fantastic, and he's been finding guys that we didn't even know existed still. Laquan Treadwell led the team in receiving last week. Kyle Rudolph caught a touchdown. Kyle Rudolph is still alive? What? Amazing. I mean, with Adam Thielen out of the lineup, he's finding different sets of hands out there. He's starting to orchestrate this offense in a very nice way. But with all of that said, going back to when the brilliance started, to when it kicked in, he's played the Giants, Philadelphia, whose defense has not been that amazing, Detroit, again, we talked about their defense in the holes, Washington, and Kansas City. So 5 defensive teams that, not so much. 5 offensive teams, I should say, with brutal defense. So you look at the Dallas Cowboys, and if they can show up, they've got some great guys in that secondary, some beauties at linebacker. If they can tighten things up there in Dallas at home, I think this is going to be a very tight game, and I see them taking the win at the very end. Carrie Underwood's going to be singing, and I think Jerry Jones is going to be dancing.
So it's going to be a close one. Field goal game.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. You might say it.
Or even tight. Yeah. I mean, I see it being a 1 or 2 pointer.
So at Laquan Treadwell's for Minnesota or Dallas?
Kyle Rudolph will light up the night.
Hey, that's pretty good. All right. On that horrible pun, we move on to our final game of the week.
You need to write my puns.
Yeah. Right puns. Thomas, take notes.
Yeah.
Our Monday night game is a huge divisional clash. It is Seattle at San Francisco. And, man, where to even begin? This might be the game of the year.
This, in my mind, thus far, absolutely the game of the year. And in my mind, I mean, this could absolutely decide that NFC West division as well. I mean, I know obviously Frisco's got a couple games up, but at the same time, their schedule is starting to turn. We're going to see what the Niners are made of from here on out, because they had a bit of a cakewalk these first 8 or 9 weeks. And this is the one thing that I'm sure of in this game, because it's going to be tight. The one thing that I'm very sure of is take the over right now. If you get in right now, it's set at 45.5. These are 2 very offensive teams, as we've seen, and I love the over in this game. I'm in love with that over. Seattle's gone over in 6 of their last 7 against NFC West opponents, while San Francisco is 4-1 in their last 5 divisional matchups. Look for another shootout and the denim to get ripped off at Levi's Stadium.
Denim on denim. I can't wait for this game. I hope it doesn't disappoint. I mean, San Fran, the last undefeated team in the NFL. Seattle getting an MVP caliber performance from Russell Wilson on the week. Like 5 throwing touchdowns. this past weekend. That's ridiculous.
He was incredible. And DK Metcalf also a saint out there.
I did say Josh Jacobs for Rookie of the Year, but like DK Metcalf, if he keeps this up,
honorable mention at the very least.
Absolutely. As for this game, it could go a million different directions. Like I can't get a feel for it at all because these two teams are very good. It's going to be a great showdown. I don't really know where the cards will land. 49ers should win this game, and it would take it goes a long way to locking up the division. But honestly, if Seattle continues to put up points like they have been, like if they win, that is not an upset, really. It's not the biggest surprise of the year.
It's not a shocker, and it really just comes down to QB versus QB, and I mean that could sound like a dumb cliche because that's pretty much every single game. But at the same time, I mean we've seen Jimmy Garoppolo. We've seen him falter here and there, and of course the team's been good enough, or they've had enough of a lead. It's been garbage time. It hasn't mattered too much. We have not really seen Russell Wilson falter that much. He's been pretty damn consistent. Yeah. He not only is in the MVP conversation, at most times throughout the year, he's been the MVP conversation. So I like Seattle. I'm most confident in going in the over rather than picking a team on the money here. So I mean that's where my confidence lies. But either way you slice it, this is going to be one hell of a football game.
All right, head to WSN.com. Tons and tons of advice, state by state guides to find out if sports betting is legal where you live or where you can expect it to become legal. Ryan, let's recap this thing. Let's get out of here. What was your best bet of the week?
The best bet of the week. I like the Baltimore Ravens taking out the Cincinnati Bengals. Ryan Finley is getting his very first start in the NFL. A beauty out of NC State. Man, is he going to have a horrible first game. And it's not going to be just raining terror on him. I'm sure, the defense will show up a bit for the Ravens, but that offense is just going to storm the gate of those Bungles.
Bungles?
The Bungles. It's a nickname.
Okay.
They're called the Bungles.
All right, and my best bet of the week is the Saints to cover that big spread, 12.5, taking on the Falcons. I just like Drew Brees, Alvin Kamara coming off a bye. We were both correct last week, so let's keep this hot streak going. Best of luck, buddy.
Best of luck to you.
All right, week 10. That's your preview. That's your setup.
Thank you, Tom.
Tom, killing it always, everyone. Again, head to WSN.com, full extensive coverage, gambling advice, daily fantasy plays. Enjoy week 10 of the NFL season, everybody.